Court of Justice in The Hague pertaining to the aggression against Yugoslavia. Later on, I will tender other documents as well. In relation to Kosovo, I wish to say only a few things which, with hindsight, show how correct Yugoslavia's approach was. What happened? What are the consequences? In the first year of the foreign presence in Kosovo and Metohija, from the moment the JNA and the Serbian police withdrew from this Serbian province in June 1999, 5,000 acts of terrorism were perpetrated in Kosovo and Metohija in 1 year alone. Several thousand people were killed or abducted. 150 churches were destroyed. Had 150 mosques or Catholic churches or synagogues been demolished anywhere in the world, the whole world would be buzzing about it. Under the auspices and protection of the United Nations, all these crimes were committed, trampling on the UN resolution, transforming the security forces of the United Nations into forces of occupation in collaboration with the Albanian terrorists. Over 300,000 inhabitants were expelled under the auspices of the United Nations and in collaboration with them. On the other side, more than 200,000 Albanians, foreign citizens, moved into Kosovo, mostly from Albania and other countries. Persecution of all non-Albanians continued with undiminished fervor and continues to this day. As a result of this criminal hysteria, almost everything that is Serbia and non-Albanian has already been cleansed from Kosovo. And that is the reason for the fall in volume and in scale, because there is less and less that this violence can be directed towards. Even what little is left that is not Albanian in Kosovo and Metohija has been too much for these terrorists, so that the culmination of the anti-Serb violence in Kosovo and Metohija occurred on the 17th of March this year, after the most recent efforts by witness Halid Tabarani, who testified here. He, of course, is not the only criminal who has testified here. Numerous criminals have testified here, but this has been proved. Halid Barani, with his new invented story of the alleged Serbian crime against 3 Albanian boys who drowned in the river, allegedly fleeing from their Serbian persecutors, gave the signal, the green light, for a hysterical mass assault on everything Serbian, for which reason KFOR arrested him as well. And another witness here, Shukri Buya, another criminal and terrorist, who confirmed here that he was in command of a UCK unit, a KLA unit in Račak, and that he was the first to open fire from a machine gun on a policeman there. And of course, together with his fellows, this pogrom of the Serbian people in Kosovo and Metohija is the result of a joint criminal enterprise between this institution and its witnesses whose interest it defends here and with whom it collaborates, and those who are behind it, with the most retrograde movement engendered in Europe in history. Bearing in mind what happened in Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially the evident continuity between the separatist and nationalist tendencies and movements and their pro-Nazi and extremist predecessors from World War II, and bearing in mind the irrational fervor and zeal with which this so-called prosecution tries to justify the acts of those who persist in revising the results of 2 world wars, and to achieve what they did not manage to achieve because they were defeated in those wars, then a very worrying conclusion emerges that the joint criminal enterprise of which this institution is a participant is far broader, both by the number of participants and the criminal plan and the time span and the territory involved. Today, many in the West are trying to justify the violence perpetrated by the terrorists in Kosovo by saying it is revenge for the long-term terror and repression over the Albanian population in Kosovo and Metohija. This is a lie. Where are these people who were persecuted and imprisoned all those years? These arguments are not only based on false facts, but they cannot hold water in the face of historical continuity. The historical continuity of the persecution of the Serbian and Christian population on the territory of Kosovo and Metohija from the times of the Turkish occupation, with short breaks until today, although there were really no interruptions to speak of. The ethnic cleansing of the Serbs from Kosovo and Metohija has a long history. And it became especially intensive after the founding of the so-called Albanian League in Prizren in 1878, which drew up the idea of creating a greater Albania. Konstantin Jiricek, the eminent historian, says that of the old Serbia, that is Kosovo, from 1878 to 1912, 150,000 Serbs were expelled, amounting to a quarter of the Serbian population. In addition to many Russian, French, and other sources, this process is also dealt with in British documents, diplomatic documents, for example, by Sir George Banham to the Marquis of Lansdowne in 1901, where he speaks of the expulsions of Serbs, and then about the expulsion of large numbers of Serbian families, but I have no time to quote this right now. The development of the situation in Kosovo and Metohija has shown that nothing has changed in the methods of de-Serbianizing the area. On the contrary, the policy of pressure and terror over Serbs and Montenegrins by Albanians has become even worse. And this became especially evident during World War I, especially during the withdrawal of the Serbian troops through Albania in 1915. And there are numerous documents about this. When at the beginning of World War II, Italy created the puppet Greater Albania, including the largest part of Kosovo and Metohija, this was an opportunity for new terror over the non-Albanian, primarily Serbian population population, as evidenced by the statement of Mustafa Kroya, the Prime Minister of June 1941 of the puppet Albanian state, who said maximum efforts have to be invested to expel all the Serbs from Kosovo, to